Once upon a time, in a small village, nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling lake, lived a young woman named Alara. Alara was known throughout the village for her radiant smile and her unwavering kindness. She had a heart of gold and a spirit that never bowed to challenges. But beneath her cheerful demeanor, there was a fire burning within her, a relentless drive to make a difference in the world. From a young age, Alara had dreamed of becoming a healer, someone who could alleviate the suffering of others and bring light into their lives. However, her village, steeped in tradition and conservatism, did not support her aspirations. They believed that healing was a man's profession and that women should focus on domestic duties. Despite their disapproval, Alara's determination did not waver. She devoured every medical book she could find, learning about herbs, remedies, and ancient healing techniques. She spent hours by the lake, collecting medicinal plants and experimenting on them, always eager to learn more. As the years passed, Alara became renowned in the village for her knowledge of healing. People started seeking her out, bringing their sick and injured loved ones to her humble abode. Alara treated them all with the utmost care, her touch gentle and her spirits high. Although her actions were viewed as a threat to the rigid social order by some, they couldn't deny the effectiveness of her healing. It was during one of these healing sessions that Alara met Liam. Liam was a young man from a neighboring village who had heard about Alara's healing abilities. He had come to her for help, but soon he found himself captivated by her spirit and determination. Liam was different. He challenged the norms, too, and he saw in Alara a kindred spirit. They discussed their dreams and aspirations, their shared love for healing, and their desire to help others. A bond formed between them, a connection that went beyond their physical attraction. As their friendship deepened, Liam became Alara's biggest supporter. He encouraged her to follow her dreams, to become the healer she was meant to be. Together, they faced the skepticism and disapproval of their communities, standing strong in the face of adversity. One day, an epidemic struck the villages near the lake. People fell ill, their bodies ravaged by an unknown sickness. Fear spread like wildfire, and the villagers, desperate for help, turned to the traditional healers in their midst. But their remedies seemed to do little to alleviate the suffering. It became clear that what they needed was something different, someone who could approach healing in a new way. That's when the villagers remembered Alara. They came to her, their faces etched with worry and hope, and pleaded for help. Though afraid, Alara knew she couldn't turn away those in need. With Liam by her side, she set out to help the villagers. She used her knowledge of herbs and remedies to concoct healing tonics. She tended to the sick, offering comfort and care. Day and night, she worked tirelessly, refusing to give in to despair. As the days turned into weeks, the situation grew dire. More and more people fell ill, and the healers in the neighboring villages were also struggling to find a solution. Desperation hung heavy in the air. It was then that Alara and Liam decided to seek help from a renowned healer in a distant land. They embarked on a perilous journey, braving treacherous terrains and facing wild animals. Along the way, they encountered other villagers affected by the epidemic, and Alara couldn't bear to leave them helpless, so she provided what aid she could, spreading hope wherever she went. Finally, after a long and arduous journey, they reached the wise healer. The healer, impressed by Alara's dedication and compassion, took them in and began teaching her advanced healing techniques. Under his guidance, Alara learned to harness the power of her touch, to channel her life force energy into healing others. It was as if a dormant part of her being awakened, and she realized that her true potential as a healer lay within her innate life force. After several months of intensive training, Alara mastered the art of energy healing. With newfound knowledge and skills, she and Liam returned to their village. The epidemic had reached its peak by then, and the villagers' hope was fading fast. But Alara was determined to make a difference. She began by visiting the most afflicted, those who had given up hope. As she laid her hands on their bodies, channeling her life force energy, the sick started to show signs of improvement. News of Alara's miraculous healing spread like wildfire, drawing people from neighboring villages to seek her help. Soon, her small home became a hub of activity as patients from far and wide came to her doorstep, each hoping for a miracle. Ilara didn't disappoint them. With unwavering dedication, she healed the sick, instilling hope where there was none. Her success, however, did not go without notice. The traditional healers, threatened by Ilara's growing popularity and the fact that she was a woman, tried to discredit her. They spread rumors, claiming her healing was a sham, an attempt to tarnish her reputation and stop her good work. But the people had witnessed Ilara's healing prowess. They knew firsthand the difference she was making in their lives. And so the rumors had little effect. Ilara continued healing, her spirits unbroken. As the last of the sick were nursed back to health, the epidemic that had threatened to wipe out entire villages came under control. The people, overjoyed, hailed Ilara as a hero. They celebrated her bravery, her compassion, and her dedication. In their eyes, she had not only saved their loved ones, but also brought new hope to their lives. Yet, amidst the celebrations, Ilara remained humble. She knew that her success was not because of any special ability, but because of her will, her determination, and her belief in her dream. Looking back at the journey that had led her to this moment, she realized how far she had come. The road to becoming a healer had been fraught with challenges. There were times when she doubted herself, when the weight of her dream felt overwhelming, but she had persevered, fueled by an inner fire that refused to be extinguished. Now, standing tall, she knew that her journey was far from over. There were still many who needed her help, many who had lost faith in healing, and as long as there was need in the world, she would be there. Her dream had come true, but it was not just about her personal triumph. It was about proving to the world that dreams, no matter how big or how unconventional, can be achieved. It was about showing that even in the face of the most daunting challenges, one can rise above and make a difference. Her story became a beacon of inspiration for many, especially the women who dreamed of breaking free from the shackles of societal norms. They saw in Ilara a role model, someone who dared to chase her dreams, and in doing so, had not only changed her own life, but had touched the lives of countless others. And so the tale of Ilara the healer was passed down through generations, a reminder that the greatest challenges often lead to the most triumphant victories, and that the fire that burns within us has the power to change not only our own lives, but the world around us.